So welcome back to the Living in Southern Utah channel. This is Courtney and Sean with the #1 relocation team here in Southern Utah. And you are going to want to get a notepad and a pencil out for this video because we are going to give you the ultimate guide to moving here to Southern Utah. I mean, we're going to tell you about, the major roads, the best places to live. We're going to tell you about the pros and cons of living here in Southern Utah. We're going to talk about the cost of living. We're going to just go through this entire region and give you a huge overview of every little thing that you're going to want to know if you're thinking about moving here to this beautiful little section of the American Southwest. So here we are in Southern Utah, the southern tip of the great beehive state of Utah. And if you want to click on St. George. So St. George is obviously the most famous city. You want to zoom in and click towards St. George.
Well, we have to make this little distinction too, is that when people talk about Southern Utah, they're referring to this. Like, they're not really referring to pretty much anywhere else in Utah as far as like in mass, because this is like the population center of Southern Utah. So this is southwestern corner, really.
Yeah. Zoom in and then click on St. George. And then you want to just go to the center of St. George, because one interesting thing about St. George, click on the St. George Children's Museum. That's right in the center of St. George. Oh, there it is. There's downtown. So downtown St. George. And one interesting thing about downtown is that, everyone thinks about St. George as a place where there's massive new construction going on, and that is true. But that does not mean that there aren't older homes in St. George, homes with a little bit of, charm, and many of them can be found here in downtown. And if you are looking for something like that, definitely reach out to us, because Sean and our team, we are licensed realtors here in the state of Utah. And we can help you with anything you need in terms of what you're looking for and buying a property here in Southern Utah.
So now, having said that, let's kind of give you an idea of the lay of the land here. So obviously, you're gonna move. If you're moving here, you want to know, okay, well, how do I get from point A to point B? And so obviously, the 800-pound gorilla here is the 15 freeway. This kind of cuts through,
basically divides. People say St. George, they're really talking about St. George, Washington, Santa Clara, Ivins, Hurricane. So it's dividing this area in half.
Yeah, so the 15 freeway runs obviously 2 hours south. Within 2 hours south, you're in Las Vegas, which is a whole different world than St. George. Yeah. And then obviously about 5 hours north, you're in Salt Lake City. So the 15 freeway, super convenient, not just to go from far away places, but actually within Washington County. Yeah. The 15 freeway is a fantastic option. It's really helpful. It's not particularly trafficy here too. In the 15 freeway,
I don't think I've ever experienced traffic.
No, not in Washington County. No.
I wouldn't call it traffic. I would call it busyness.
Now the locals roads, here will say that it's gotten trafficy. Yeah. Where we're from a bigger metropolitan area.
Transplants will say it is not.
Not. So it is not trafficking. It is not. Yes. So the 15 freeway is obviously a huge, the huge artery, right? But not to be, but other ones are important too. So the 7 freeway, so this is Southern Parkway right here. So this is one, this is kind of an interesting one as well, because this one kind of gets you to the St. George Regional Airport. Also, there's a lot of stuff happening right here. So you have Desert Color that's going on. So that's this a big, huge community, massive, huge. Yeah, huge. I mean, honestly, it's going to be about half the size of maybe not, maybe a third of the size of St. George when everything's said and done. There's a multi-decade development going on here. But then this is River Road right here. This is one of your major arteries for shopping. It kind of runs along here. And so this is one of your main shopping corridors.
And River Road can, again, I was talking about busyness.
Yes.
It can get busy.
Here it can, yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like the shop. Yeah, it's the shopping corridor. So
this isn't a freeway, right? So this is actually a road. This has stoplights and that stuff, and that's where you kind of get that backing up. The 7, the 15 freeway. No traffic lights, of course. That's what you're dealing with. Actually, most of these other things. I mean, the 9 freeway also doesn't have much lights. I think there's some lights, but not much.
There's lights, but there's not traffic.
No. Yeah. So that's kind of giving you an idea of, and then of course.
And then do you want to talk about the when you're going down this?
That's the alternate route.
Yeah. And then we'll also tell you about the old Highway 91, because every once in a while you want to show like St. George compared to Las Vegas, because people do have to tend to go to Las Vegas sometimes, whether, they're going to the airport there, or maybe there's like something they have to buy that they can't get in St. George, so they just go down to Vegas for the day. And there can sometimes be some traffic on the 15 on some of the bridges, like near Mesquite.
Well, actually more like Littlefield. Like, so this is Beaver Dam. This is kind of where they're doing a widening project or whatever, and so it goes to one lane, and it on each way, and it can back up.
Yeah, and when I say back up, depending on if you catch it on a particularly bad day, it can be like an extra hour of traffic. So there is an alternate route if you want to zoom out. It's called the Old Highway 91, and it goes through. Basically, there's an American Indian reservation. It goes through that. And then it goes basically...
I believe it's like...
Yeah, and it hits... Yeah, exactly. And it goes through Santa Clara.
And it kind of gets on the other side of Beaver Dam. So you kind of avoid that if it's particularly bad for some reason.
Well, and that's actually the way people used to go before the 15. Before you go through that gorge, right? If anyone's ever, driven up here to St. George, you have to go through that huge gorge in between, like, Arizona and Utah. And that's how you get here. That's how the 15.
And some of the more major roads beyond just like these like kind of highways, freeways kind of thing is of course the 18. So you have like like Red Hills Parkway. You have like you have some of these other roads right here. Like Bluff Street is a pretty big road, and this kind of runs you all the way to Ivins, basically. So the Ledges, which is another very popular community, but this is kind of another one you'd be another road to be mindful of, because there's a lot of stuff. There's also a lot of shopping along this as well.
Yeah.
Although I will say River Road is the one where I'd say the most shopping. This is going to be where a lot of big box stores are. Your Lowe's, Home Depots, Best Buys, like In-N-Out Burger, which we love.
Gotta have In-N-Out.
Gotta have In-N-Out.
Oh man, for sure. For sure. And then another thing that Sean and I always like to joke about, because people, if they're coming here and they'll, Sean actually recently had someone call and they were like, well, we want to be close to downtown. And we always kind of have a joke that everything in St. George is 15 minutes away, no matter where you are. And that kind of really just holds true. I mean, it's a pretty small region, right?
I can't tell you how many times on our map, on our navigation, we're like, well, how far are we away from like Town Square Park? Because we're using this as kind of like the center, right?
Yeah.
So
well, it is. It's 0-0 on the grid
pretty
system.
much. So so it's kind of like, okay, so how far are we away from downtown? Inevitably, it seems like it's always about 15 minutes, give or take. Like,
unless you're getting out to like Hurricane, then obviously that's different. But if you're talking about, like Ivins, St. George, Washington, even in Santa Clara, like,
Santa Clara gets a little bit, maybe 20.
Even Ivins Ivins can get to like 20 minutes, 25.
But we will say that the change in scenery is kind of unbelievable. Like, it kind of blows your mind, like how different it feels and how not far away you are. Like the Ledges is like very fascinating to me from that perspective. Like, you're like, I must be like 45 minutes and an hour away from civilization. You're like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of crazy. Or Kayenta, like, is another one that's kind of like
Kayenta's and Ivins. That's a very popular community. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yes.
So, cost of living in St. George, like, I like to use bestplaces.net. So USA, they say USA is 100. That kind of means like baseline.
That's average,
Baseline, like average. I always think of, Texas as average, because Texas is famous for its cost of living, right? Because you got so much land, so much space in Texas, right? Endless building. So USA is 100. So St. George is 107. So just a little bit over.
We're actually lower than Utah, though.
Yeah.
In general, which is pretty impressive.
But I will say the housing, people sometimes are surprised by how expensive the housing can be in St. George.
Yeah, it's funny because when you've taken these into account the other criteria, the other categories, we're about even.
Yeah.
It's just what obviously tips us over to being a bit more expensive than average is the housing, because it's obviously a decent amount more.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I would say we've had people, call us and say, compared to maybe some of the inland California areas like Riverside and stuff, it's very similar price.
And they're surprised because they think it's going to be much cheaper. And you're like,
they're like, it's not California, it's Utah. And we're like, well, I mean, it's nice. Like, people want to live here.
It's part of Utah. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, way less expensive than like coastal California. But But if you're talking about inland California, which can have some, nice spots, like Temecula, parts of like Riverside are nice, and it's a similar price.
Yeah, and again, like if you're looking at the other stuff, good news is that from your other categories, you're reasonable. Like it's nothing exorbitant. Energy's like below average. Groceries are below average. So there's a lot of things that we're actually doing really well in here.
Yeah, obviously, like state taxes are low, like property taxes are fairly low, like other things compared to a lot of other states are much lower. But just the housing itself people can be surprised by how expensive it is.
Definitely.
And so since, we can't steer you in anywhere, we're just going to use niche.com.
Yeah, we defer to them.
Yeah, we defer to them, and they've ranked, best places to live in Washington County. And what's interesting is, like, it's so small that, like, everywhere, it kind of, one city bleeds into another. But if you want to go, so they say Santa Clara, number 1. We can just show you where Santa Clara is. And I don't know if you've ever watched our channel before, but our business partner, Sue, who has been here forever, like she knows the St. George region like the back of her hand. Her favorite place in all of St. George is Santa Clara. Like she loves Santa Clara.
It's really cute.
It's really, really cute. They have like a really cute like Main Street area it's got a lot of like old town charm.
Like the tree-lined road.
Tree-lined streets, lots of like old growth trees.
The Santa Clara River right here.
Yeah, the Santa Clara River. They've got some beautiful like big estate homes. And they also have now a lot of new construction out there as well.
Yeah.
So Santa Clara is gorgeous. Like it is a super gorgeous city. Obviously quite small. There's not usually like that much inventory available right there. And it's surprisingly like close to the center of St. George.
Yeah.
Like probably about 15 minutes from downtown St. George.
Yeah, definitely. It's really like the proximity is good. And you have to understand this whole Washington County area is about 200,000 people. So we're not talking about a huge metropolitan area, although we're the fastest growing metropolitan area in the country. It's just that we're still obviously have more humble beginnings as far as where we're starting off size-wise. So we're, these cities, again, St. George itself is about 80,000-ish at the time of this recording. Mm-hmm. The other cities kind of, again, aren't very large.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Santa Clara, just gorgeous little spot. I mean, if you've never been here, I recommend just driving down Santa Clara Main Street.
It's really cute.
Getting lost in some of the side streets there. You'll run across some, huge, like, estates. It's just the cutest little city. Like, I love Santa Clara.
Yes, exactly. And to number 2 on this list is St. George. Okay,
yeah.
So St. George is kind of what...
So click on St. George so you can see where the...
Now, this is what people think of when they think of Southern Utah, right? Obviously, like, it's almost synonymous where the Coca-Cola of colas, like, as far as St. George. I mean, a lot of people live here. It's the most populous city in Washington County, and far and away, it's almost half the Washington County's population.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty big, pretty decent size, too. And it's only going to grow more because within St. George, there's a lot of new construction that's happening as well. To be honest with you, this whole area, to get you to, like, by the airport, like, this whole thing is being constructed a lot. Yeah. Actually, a lot of this area. It's kind of funny because you're going to see outcroppings of new developments, and it's like there's a lot of land separating them.
Yeah.
But then you're going, okay, in a decade or two, this is all going to be kind of merged together, it seems like. But basically, like, one of the big developments here is this area, like Desert Color. It's, I guess, supposedly within 20 years' time, give or take, when everything's said and done, there may be, again, if it kind of develops according to plan, up to like 40,000 residents could be living in this one pocket of St. George.
So how many units? Is it like 20,000 units?
I think it was like 11,000, 12,000,
like so 11,000,
maybe 15,000.
Like they're planning on building over the next 2 decades 11,000 units.
So, and actually we didn't know about this area much when we were actually ourselves relocating. Mm-hmm. And had we done it, this would have been one, like much more on our short list. We just didn't, we just thought it was too far, like, away from town center. And again, about 15 minutes, especially because it's right off the 15 freeway. So it's a pretty straight shot.
That's why you got to reach out to us, especially because, our team
learn from our mistakes.
Yeah. And plus our team here in St. George, like we have people working with us that have lived here for over 2 decades and have helped so many people relocate here to southern Utah. Yeah, in Desert Color, what's interesting too is that if you go there, because I know like water issues is a big question that a lot of people have. So if you go to the development, they're very upfront in terms of like how they're planning on conserving water, how they're planning on, making sure that everything has the water that it needs. And it's not a golf course community. They actually have...
Did that on purpose.
Yeah, they did that on purpose. They actually have, the main amenity is like basically this big beach
lagoon
that they have.
thing.
It's a lagoon, yeah, which actually uses significantly less water than golf courses. And they actually they're their own water providers, so they like create their own water and like have their own, so they're like basically
it's very sustainable.
Yeah, very self-sufficient. So it's pretty interesting if you are interested in how the region is growing with the water constraints that we have here.
Yeah, and what's fascinating too about Desert Color is tons of new construction. But on top of that, what's fascinating is that they actually have a bit of nightly rental, like a mix of normal, normal zoning for houses, but then also they have nightly rentals too. So you have to understand this whole St. George region. I know people come here going, okay, conservative area, you're the king of your land and all that stuff. To an extent, sure, like you could think that, but at the same time, you have to be aware of the fact that Utah is very strict. Well, at least St. George, this Washington County is pretty strict regarding zoning for nightly rentals. A couple reasons, obviously, they don't want competition probably with the hotels, but also maybe the neighborhoods don't want to have.
I would say that's actually the biggest reason. Like, because Sean's best friend, his dad has a property out in Hurricane, and there would be like party buses showing up because people would do nightly rentals, and then they were just completely not even like caring about the neighbors and stuff. So they really had to crack down on the nightly rentals because of that, because of like the partying. People would come and then they'd go out to Zion the next day. Yeah, it was just like crazy. Yeah,
so basically, what we have here there's pockets within Washington County that are zoned for nightly rentals. And of course they tend to be more expensive because you can basically generate a business out of it, and otherwise, depending on the area, they have different regulations as far as how short of a rental you can have. Again, that's if you're interested in something like that, you got to reach out to us so we can kind of help you kind of navigate that, because a lot of the areas are like 6 months is minimum rental contract, like rental stay there. Other ones are obviously like literally nightly, so it just kind of it's all across the board. But Desert Color, what's fascinating again is that it has a little mix of it has little communities within Desert Color that allow for nightly rentals, and then other ones are just your standard normal residential zoning situation.
Yeah, and then St. George itself, it just has so many cute little neighborhoods. One sort of runs into the next, like I'm just seeing right there, like Hidden Valley. That's a super cute little neighborhood. Then we have like Little Valley, which is kind of a little bit up a little bit north than that. There's lots in the center of St. George. There's lots of cute little neighborhoods, lots of master plan communities, very convenient, lots of shopping right there. Oh, Stonecliff, yeah. We love Stonecliff. Stonecliff is it's a gated, it's a very pricey.
Little ritzy
gated community here in St. George.
Beautiful views.
Yes, it's known for its views, yes. And then, we can't really, I don't want to tell you like everything. It's not really what this video is about, but I don't know if you want to just give like maybe one that people are surprised it actually is St. George, is if you want to talk about the Ledges up there. So the Ledges is kind of like, it's built around the Ledges golf course, obviously. So if you're looking for a golf community, again, like St. George, people love the St. George region because you can get, year-round golf, right? That is a huge draw to the region. And so the Ledges is a big, popular community for that reason. New construction there right now, built around the golf course. One thing about it, though, it doesn't really have like immediately surrounding it like
shopping,
dining.
They have some little things, but you're going to want to be going closer downtown to get any of that stuff.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. I guess they do it that way on purpose. They want it to kind of be like isolated and on its own. So yeah, it doesn't have the convenience of maybe some other neighborhoods in the St. George region. And then the Ledges is right by Snow Canyon State Park. So this park, I feel like it gets forgotten.
Yeah, because you have Zion, of course, which obviously...
So everyone talks about Zion, which is phenomenal. Like, let's be real. Zion is phenomenal. But Snow Canyon is so close, right? It's like 15 minutes from city center, like 5 minutes from the Ledges. And it's people call it the land that time forgot, right? Like, it is phenomenal. Like, it is...
It looks like someone painted it. I honestly, like, even if you're right, like, within a few feet of these, these rocks. You're going, there's no way this is natural. Like it's unbelievable. It blows your mind how it is here. So again, highly recommend going to Snow Canyon State Park just because it's so convenient and you really feel like you're a world away and you're only again about 15 or so minutes away. It's kind of blowing my mind. Actually.
It is. Like whenever, if someone comes to visit us and we don't have time to go to Zion, I'll be like, well, let's just go to Snow Canyon. And
for a quick little hike.
Yeah, and people are like, what? Like, this is incredible. Like, I can't believe this. It's right by your house. Like, yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, then you want to see what the next city is? So Washington.
Washington has a lot of similarities to St. George, to be honest. I imagine the locals are going to say, no way, we're totally different.
No.
However, like...
You don't even know if you're in Washington or if you're in St. George. It
bleeds together. Yeah, very much so. I mean, they have so many similarities. It kind of blows my mind. And so, again, whereas the other cities, I would say, I definitely have a little bit more distinct flavor.
That's true.
Washington and St. George, honestly, they just... It's almost like just one... big city compared to the two separate ones.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's true. Like Santa Clara definitely has its own flavor, right?
And or Ivins has its own flavor.
For
Hurricane,
sure.
It seems like St. George and Washington definitely.
Yeah, but again, if you are looking for golf course living, there's lots of golf course communities in Washington, like Coral Canyon. I love the Coral Canyon up there. There's a really popular new construction out there. The views at Coral Canyon.
Beautiful views.
Yeah, beautiful view. You can actually see Zion in the distance.
And you can see Pine Mountain too.
Yeah, Pine Mountain. So yeah, again, lots of golf course communities out in Washington. I mean, it's mostly just...
Yeah, I mean, like how beautiful that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly just master plan communities.
But a lot of them have nice views.
A lot of nice views and a lot of golf course opportunities as well.
And then again, and just again further illustrate, Washington and St. George border each other. Like River Road turns into Telegraph. I mean, it kind of literally blends together where a lot of the shopping and stuff is also within Washington. Yeah. It's just, it feels like you're like, oh wait, am I in Washington or am I in St. George? So
and then just to give you to show you how close you are. So Coral Canyon Golf Course, if you want to click it and then show to the center. So downtown St. George, there, Down Square Park. It's about 15 minutes. See, exactly how we always say that.
Look at that. Like, how amazing.
It's literally 15 minutes. Yeah, so just into downtown, just from Coral Canyon, which is kind of far out in Washington. 15 minutes from downtown St. George. So very, very close, very convenient location.
Yes. And the next one on this list is, let's see here. So it is Ivins.
Oh, Ivins. Okay, so Ivins has, again, Ivins super...
Okay, sorry.
Super small, again, but Ivins has two very popular communities. It has Kayenta and it has Entrada. Well, Entrada is actually in 3 cities. It's in St. George, Santa Clara, and Ivins.
Yeah, kind of it's all kind of...
And it has different, parts of Entrada, but Entrada is also a popular community in Ivins. So, but Ivins, what Ivins is kind of famous for is its views of Snow Canyon State Park and the Red Mountain. You get some phenomenal views really no matter where you are in Ivins.
And Entrada, there'll be a lot of people asking us about Entrada because it is one of those beautiful communities where it's newish construction, it's gated, beautiful views.
Golf course.
And the golf. And they actually just redid their golf course, a multi-million-dollar renovation to the golf course.
Yeah, all over the golf news about the new Entrada golf course. Yeah, and then also the Black Desert Resort. That's another big golf course.
And that's just being built as we speak.
Yeah, nobody's, at least as we speak right now. I don't know if it's open to the public. I'm pretty sure it's not, but they're building that right now. But again, so Entrada is a big golf community that people love with some phenomenal views of just gorgeous red rocks and lava rocks. And then Kayenta gives you similarly gorgeous views, but it's not a golf community.
And it's not gated.
It's what I love about Kayenta though is that it's got a cute little arts village, as Sean just clicked on right there.
And Zeteva.
Yeah, and it has a cute little restaurant too. Great brunches there. I love just the feel of Kayenta. It's just so peaceful and charming and got some beautiful art in there.
Yeah, and again, I can't stress this enough. The views at some of these homes, again, not all of them, right? But some of these homes have some of the most spectacular views where we come from a beach coastal area, and some of these homes I'm going, I don't know if I would take an ocean view over the views that I see here. So it's, again, it doesn't, you have to kind of see it to believe how beautiful some of these views are. I mean, it's incredible as you get closer to the Red Rock, to the Red Mountains. Unbelievable, just breathtaking.
Yes.
And Kayenta has funny rules too, so just be aware that they're very big on having very little light pollution. So at night they have like strict rules about, you know, how your lights are supposed to be pointed, so again, you're not shining a bunch of light. That's because people that love astronomy actually love to stargaze out, you know, here as well, because it's just, again, not much light pollution at all. And also they're very strict about how they develop the land here. So it's about, I think it's about 30 square feet. I mean, 30% of your lot can be developed. And these homes it's kind of amazing because they actually blend in with the landscape pretty well. It's mostly single story homes. And you wouldn't know there's as many homes as there are. Not that there's a ton, it's just that it looks like there's hardly any because they blend in so beautifully with the landscape. But there's a lot of strict rules. And so for some people, they, you know, I totally understand if it's too restrictive, and other people, they're like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Again, that's why you got to reach out to us so we can kind of help you navigate kind of some of these different areas that have these kind of different regulations. And then obviously we can talk about Tuacahn too, right? Since we're here.
So it's a Tuacahn theater. It's just a, what's it called? What are those?
Amphitheater?
Oh yeah, so it's a natural amphitheater, and they do Broadway plays here.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible actually, because the way the rock formation is, it kind of comes to a head right here, and it creates this natural amphitheater, and it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah,
like
it's
there's just it's an amazing backdrop, like from what you see here. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and they have events like all year. You know, like they do like a Halloween thing there. They do like Christmas.
They have TED Talks.
Yeah, TED Talks. Yeah, they do so much stuff in here. It's very popular. Lots of stuff going on.
For sure.
In
Tuacahn. And to say, I believe it's Tuacahn. I know we have said it wrong, and people have scolded me about it. But yes, I think it's Tuacahn.
Yeah.
So okay, and then I guess on this list we could talk about like La Verkin.
So La Verkin, super small.
Yeah, these get pretty tiny.
Let me go back. So La Verkin.
Actually, we talk about Hurricane too. I'd say talk about Hurricane.
So we'll talk about La Verkin and Hurricane. And so La Verkin's super small. I don't even know how many houses are out there. There's a great little cafe out there that I go to sometimes with Sue, one of the people on our team. It's a great little cafe out there. Great lemon squares. Great salads too, and beautiful views of the Virgin River.
And again, you're seeing as you're getting closer and closer to Zion, right? Like again, Virgin's right next to there, which is getting even closer to Zion.
Yeah.
And it's actually another thing I guess we should say is that Zion's surprisingly not that far away from town center, right? So you're about an hour. From within. From
like the center of St. George to the inside of Zion is probably an hour.
Yeah, which is kind of incredible because again, this is one of the biggest national parks in the country.
Yeah.
And as far as tourism and all that stuff, yeah. And it's not far away. I mean, you think that you're like several hours from there, and you're really not. It's actually pretty close by, and again, absolutely striking land. I mean, your eyes are just gonna be flooded with just these crazy images. But
for sure.
Yeah, but La Verkin itself is again just a smaller city. It's kind of again, it can be a little bit far out there. Again, you obviously have a lot of golf options. You have a lot of outdoor options. I guess do we talk about Quail Creek and also Sand Hollow?
Well, if you want to, so Hurricane was next on the list, and we'll talk about Hurricane. So Hurricane is big. It is so we always joke about the rule, everything's 15 minutes in St. George, and that is true until you get to Hurricane. Hurricane definitely get pretty far out there. They do have two quite popular reservoirs, obviously, so Sand Hollow and Quail Creek. So people like to go out there in the summer. There's a lot of new construction out in Hurricane, a ton. And the houses out there, you can tell that they are built for the main reason that people come out to this region, and that is outdoor living, right?
Yes.
There's tons of 3-car garages, tons of RV garages, double RV garages, people who live in Hurricane, so many of them just love their toys, right?
Yes.
They're out there for the ATVing. They're out there just for the reason
dirt
why
bikes.
Why is Utah famous?
They have their boats for the
they have their boats. Utah is famous for its outdoors, right? And that is, you see that to the T in Hurricane.
Yeah, and again, speaking of the reservoirs here, So we'll be real, like there's not a ton of water features in Washington County. So these are two of the main big ones because obviously we have the Virgin River, but really it's not like this great. It's not like the Mississippi, right? It's there. I wouldn't say you're doing too much recreational activity in the Virgin River.
You can go tubing.
In a small stretch too, so it's not like so you most of your like if you're interested in more like outdoor water stuff, it's going to be these two primarily.
Yeah.
And of course we do have like lots of pools and stuff like that, but I'm talking about like more again if you want to go boating or whatever, like going swimming out in the reservoir. Yeah. These are going to be your two main ones. So like Sand Hollow State Park, just to kind of give you some ideas. This is the most popular one because it's the largest.
And it's where the Ironman, because so again, St. George famous because we host Ironman at least once a year, and that's where they start. They swim in Sand Hollow, which when they do the Ironman race, absolutely freezing. Like you could not pay me to get in that water, and I am a former swimmer. Like I used to be a competitive swimmer. You could not pay me to get in that water when those Ironman athletes get in the water. So I don't know how they do it.
And it's pretty trippy because like you see like this red sand, which is kind of crazy. So it's again like the red rock, red sand theme is pretty insane.
Yeah. Yeah. So
and people do let's use like example boating. They're kayaking. They're it's ATV.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You always see like
fishing,
ATV out there. Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's like again, it's one of those things again, especially on a hot summer day, be aware, okay, we'll say this, you probably want to go to Quail Creek on a hot summer day because between the two, Sand Hollow is just, like, everyone knows it and everyone goes here. Quail Creek actually offers a lot of what Sand Hollow does as well, but it's just not as popular. So, me personally, I'm going to Quail Creek just because the crowds here can be pretty insane.
Yeah, and then another thing Hurricane can offer as well is that there is a lot of golf course communities as well. So if you're looking for, golf course living and you want to be out that much closer to Zion, Hurricane could be an option for you.
And also, there's like along State Street here, like this is also a pretty decent amount of shopping along here too.
That's true. They do have a decent amount of like commercial, like restaurants, like they have a Walmart out there.
Ace Hardware. Yeah. So yeah, it's like self-sufficient. It's not like it's isolated in terms of like there's nothing out there. That's not true at all. There's a lot of commercial it's being built right now. But it doesn't have as much as St. George, of course.
For sure not. But it's popular for people who don't mind, like, who kind of are, like, looking for more of, like, an isolated spot. Like, Sean's best friend, he's actually out, like, he's by Virgin, right? He's in Virgin, which is even more out there. But so Hurricane's popular among people that kind of want to even be more out, right? Yeah. Like, they don't want to be near people. They want their space.
Yes, exactly.
So that's it. That's our video.
And remember, we are licensed realtors here in the state of Utah. So as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email.
Or you can reach out to us via WhatsApp. However you want to get a hold of us, we've got your back.